Good morning. You guys let me know when you can see and hear me. Lisa. Can see and hear you. Awesome. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Let me pull this out of the way. Minimize. All right. Can see. Hello. Great to see you back. Loud and clear. Yeah. Oh, guys, thank you so much. KJ, afternoon. Kristi and Katie may join us in a little bit. They're currently out on their little morning routine, but they may in fact join in a little bit later. So you just got me for the next probably 30 minutes or so. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So, how is everyone doing? How was your, well, I guess it's a holiday weekend if you observe Easter, or I guess everyone would have it whether you observe it or not, but that's going on. And what was it, Axpona last weekend? So I'm assuming lots to get into today. Clem, thank you. I will answer your question in just a second. Just getting up and running and letting the trash trucks get out of here. From Toronto, from England. Afonso, yes. Thank you. Coffee in hand. Chris, thank you so much. Don't know how your lives have changed, but I've discovered Nespresso. Oh boy. Yeah, Chris writes, I've discovered Nespresso. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be back home with our coffee machine. It's very hard to find good coffee in the Dallas area. I will say as much. So, although when I was in Dallas, Kristi and I managed to take one whole day off from all the craziness, and we stopped into a Williams-Sonoma. What were we going to do? You know, just day off. We slept in and we went shopping and eating. But we stopped into a Williams-Sonoma, and Williams-Sonoma carries Breville. That's who makes our coffee machine. It's nothing fancy. It does the job. But there was a new company that Breville purchased, an Italian company. They make, the machines were gorgeous. You know me, I'm a bit of a design nut. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with my Breville, I'm going to use it until it gives up the ghost. This Italian coffee machine was insane. It was insane. Afonso, yes. You noticed some new decor, learning my shoulders, new decor in the back. Yeah, we stumbled upon that. It's a marble entry table from like the 70s, and we stumbled upon it at an antique store just local to the house, and you know, they were not asking that much for it, so we picked it up. I'm not sure if it's going to live there permanently. It's there for now, while we try and figure out what to do with the room. But yeah, it's a vintage 1970s-ish era white marble table. It's heavier than snot. It is two pieces, thankfully, but it was quite the undertaking to get it in here. It's photographing a little dingy at the moment. It's actually a little bit brighter, but maybe because it's against a white wall and there's a little bit of shadow back there. I don't know. Graham, we're all vintage. All right. I think we're getting going. I see that I'm already behind, as always. So let's kick things off with something fun from Clem. Clem asks, so butter pecan, pistachio, or mint chip? I guess we're referring to ice cream flavors. Of the three, I'm going to go mint chip on that one. But I'm more of like a peanut butter cup, like a Reese's peanut butter ice cream, or I love gelatos and sorbets. Like those are kind of my favorite. Have been ever since I was a kid. But mint chip is pretty good. I used to make my own kind of mint chip. Sometimes I would get vanilla, was it Blue Bunny or Blue Bonnet, depending on what part of the country you live in. And when it was Girl Scout cookie time, my grandmother, she would buy Thin Mints and a bunch of other stuff. Thin Mints are all that you need. And I'd get those and I'd crush them up and I'd fold them into the vanilla ice cream. And I'd make my own mint chip. Now I know that they make that kind of stuff. But back in the day, I did it myself. Afonso, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, we have missed you guys. It has been, it's been a crazy, we realized that it's been since the last week of February. The last week of February, and we in the 60 plus days we've published 2 videos, and everyone's been very kind and checking in and stuff. But yeah, it's been crazy. Channel is all but dead at the moment, but we're back. We're gonna get it all back. Nick, hope everything is on the up and up. Glad you're back. Looking forward to the return video. Told you the fans would be here on your return. Thank you so much, Nick, for everything. I can't thank you guys enough. The community of our members and, our regular viewers, you guys have made the last 2-ish plus months bearable in a lot of ways. I did read all the comments. I checked out as many of the direct messages as I could before my head hit the pillow after long days. And I apologize again if I wasn't able to respond to everybody, but I did see everything. So thank you. Jay Lauren, any new lusts after Watches and Wonders? Yes. One of the things that surprised me was I was pretty dead set that I wanted one of the new Tag Heuer Formula One reissues. And I wanted it just kind of for funsies, not because I'm like a diehard collector of that particular style of watch, but I just thought it looked fun in photographs and stuff like that. So I was pretty dead set on getting one. And I tried one on at a Tag Heuer store when I was in Dallas that day. We were shopping and we hopped into Williams-Sonoma. That watch does not work on me. That watch does not look good on me at all. And I mean at all. I was like, I didn't know there was a way for a watch to look bad, but boy, I put that on and I'm, me, I rock Tag. I'm a big fan, and have been for a long time, but boy, that watch didn't work on me at all. So yeah, that is now off the board. But man, the JLC, some of the stuff from JLC at Watches and Wonder, oh my gosh, so beautiful. What was the other one? Oh, the big face. Who makes that one? Oris, new colorways with big face. Really liked those. Obviously, there was a lot of hubbub about your, Rolex and Tudor and stuff. And again, it's just, I don't know. It's just not me for some reason. So yeah, but I got a couple, but JLC for me really stole the show at Watches and Wonders. Let's see, Rich, B&W 703 S3 versus Focal Aria Evo X number 2 comparison. Let me make sure. I know the 703 S3, but sometimes when it comes to the Focal products, I need to double check and make sure that I am thinking of the right one. So let's type in Focal Aria Evo X number 2. All right. Okay, yeah. I was thinking of the right one. And BNW 703 S3. Yes. Okay. I didn't realize they were that comparably priced. I would have thought that the Focals were actually a lot cheaper, but they're not. They're in the same ballpark. Look, they're both going to have some similarities and some not so similar traits. They're both going to be on the slightly more exciting, dynamic, contrasty side. That doesn't necessarily mean bright, though B&W can definitely go brighter or come across as brighter, more tipped up, maybe more enhanced in those high frequencies. But they both can go that direction. Both are going to be, obviously, like any speaker, dependent on how well or poorly you set them up. The B&Ws, in my opinion, both are going to benefit from good amplification. However, the B&Ws are a little hungrier. They do dip a little lower in the impedance, so you're going to want to make sure that you have a really solid amplifier for either, but especially true of the B&W. It does seem that the better the amp that you put on something like a B&W 700 series or 800 series, the more rewards you reap. So if I had to choose one, honestly, I still, I understand they're not perfect, but my tendency is I still lean a little bit more towards B&W. That's just me. Been a long time fan, customer, whatever you want to call it. So they always are kind of eke out my own personal preference win, if you will, but both are fantastic speakers. Thanks for all you guys do. Hope as well with you and your families. Thank you so much. Yeah, things are looking up. Obviously, we're not there anymore, so that means that Kristi's parents are, taking care of themselves with some help with existing PT and things like that. We will be checking in on them periodically throughout the rest of this year, going back and forth between home and where they are, while we try and figure out what to do next. But yeah, they are better than they were in late February for sure. So, Dinosaur Dad, Casio calculator watch suits me just fine. Who was it? Was it? Timex, I think it was. Timex just dropped a couple of real heaters on the affordable watch side. Of course, Citizen has a couple that are Citizen and Tissot have a couple that are very vintagey 70s, 80s Rolex leaning that I've been meaning to check out. But I ran into a number of people at restaurants and stuff, because obviously when we were in Texas, we ate out every night because there's no kitchen, we don't live there. And the overwhelming watch of choice for bartenders, waiters, stuff like that were G-Shocks. And I saw my first gentleman wearing a Panerai in the wild. It was the first time I ever saw a Panerai being actually worn out in the wild. So that was interesting. And the guy was very, very cool. Kristi, myself, and this gentleman struck up a conversation, probably talked for 30 minutes about Panerai. He was filling us in on all that. So it was pretty fun. Let's see. Okay. Up. I just lost something. Hold on, guys. Getting back to it. All right. Clay, it's great to see you back. Glad things are settling down. I have an Atmos question. In general, do you prefer on-wall heights or in-ceiling heights? The room itself going in has vaulted ceilings. In a vaulted ceiling situation, you might do better with on-wall heights. Not to say that you can't do in-ceiling. My parents do in-ceiling, and their ceilings are, in my opinion, very high. They're higher than ours. Our ceilings are around 11, 12 feet. I think my parents are somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 18. And they use in-ceiling focals, to be exact, and they work really, really well. So depending on the vault of the ceiling, your mileage may vary. Obviously, if you're using wall-mounted or in-wall height channels, you can get them closer to your seated height or the proper recommended Dolby height for those types of things. I personally, this is just my preference, but again, this is my preference based on what I live with as opposed to what your situation may be. My preference is in ceiling. I like things up and out of view. In walls are great. They're very stealthy, but I don't like seeing the rectangular outline, if you will, of an in wall. So I always err on the side of in ceiling if I can, but that's just me. That's just me. Your situation, that may not be the right solution for you. Finally, we are live again. Missed you guys. I hope you and the family are okay. Last speech about Mr. X was spot on and hit me right at the heart. Let's hope for a better world. Send you some love from the Netherlands. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I believe you're referring to, there was a gentleman that in the last live stream took some umbrage with, some financial choices I believe that I might have made, and but not knowing the full story, and we kind of got into it, not into it like in a mean-spirited way, but just like try not to judge a book by its cover, because sometimes it's okay to treat oneself, especially when you're going through a very serious or tumultuous, dramatic, tension-filled time, one that is especially financially draining as healthcare costs and taking care of loved ones. I believe I said in the live stream that I did a little retail therapy for me and for Kristi, because we hadn't really done anything for ourselves, and I think he took some umbrage with that, not realizing that we had spent tens of thousands of dollars not only on her parents' healthcare costs, but also picked up the tab for a couple of strangers too that we met while we were going through this ordeal. So thank you, I really appreciate that. Tommy, best to your family, silly question. I have B&W 702 signatures. Is it nuts to also want an SVS Evolution tower, put them next to the B&Ws and swap speaker cables between them every few months? They sound great. I mean, it's not nuts. It's different flavors, and I'll be the first to admit that sometimes you just want a little bit of a different experience. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up choosing one over the other. Can't say what that would be, but they're both really, really good speakers. And it might be a way to kind of educate yourself a little bit into like how just little minor differences in design and what that means for your listening experience, as well as how different speakers react in the room. I continue to be amazed by our Titans. That has been one of the more surprising speakers in a long time, and it has its fans, it has its detractors. I get all that, but for me, I think I've had them now for about a year. I don't know. I can't recall a time when I've had this much fun with a particular speaker on such a consistent basis in a while. I mean, and every time I tweak them a little bit, or not tweak them like get inside them and tool around, but just play with different setups, just because I'm like, what happens if I just move them way over here? What happens when I put them closer together? They're really eye-opening, and they're a lot of fun. So no, it's not a silly question. If you can afford it, you're not putting yourself in harm's way financially, and it's something you want to do, it can be a great learning experience. It really can. Greg, my wife and her brother just got their dad into assisted living this week. Tough transition, but worth it. Loving my G-Shocks for years. That is great. And thank you for sharing. Yeah, boy, I learned, and I know Kristi learned way more than me. I learned so much about, let's call it healthcare after the age of 70. Whether you need assistance, you need memory care. I mean, I learned so much in such a short amount of time that it is daunting. It's incredibly daunting. And it's something that, we're all kind of have to face kind of in one way or another. We hope that we don't, but I have a sinking suspicion time comes for everybody. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. Yeah. We opted to move them into a more kind of active senior community for now. But we still have to unwind so much, so much. So, we're just we're not at the starting line. We have definitely begun the race, but, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Speaking of in-ceilings, any updates on the plan for yours, Jay Lauren? Yes, I actually had a conversation with a brand last week about the in-ceiling situation, and I will be speaking with some installer friends that have assisted us in the past as we move parts of this home towards an all-inclusive kind of solution. I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. It's been a long time coming. It's been a dream of mine to be able to pull this off. And, the benefit of being patient and being smart about choices that you make and buying right and buying once. So, yeah, May is going to be May, yeah, because we're in April. May is going to be an exciting month for me on a HiFi personal level. A lot of dreams that I've had or wants that I've had for myself are probably going to come to fruition in May, and I'm pretty excited about that. Tom, much love to you both. Could you rate my first system for a large room? Revel F206s, Technics SUG 700 Mark II, Eversolo A6 Gen 2, Technics SL 1500C. Well, damn, Tom, that sounds amazing. That sounds really, really good. I love the Technics amp products, and their turntables they're so iconic at this point and beyond reproach. The A6, I have one. I think the A6 is great. I use the A8 myself, but I use it for reasons that you may not need. And Revel, whether or not they've made a new speaker recently or they haven't, it's been a solid brand, and they've always performed. I've had Revels many times throughout my career, and I've never been disappointed. So I would say A+, Tom. Great system. Yuri gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you. Matt, thank you for becoming a member. Video Bandit. What a great name. Found your Cinema 70 review, paired it with an Emotiva Basex A7. Awesome. Not surprised. The Marantz receivers are phenomenal, and if you need a little extra power, while there are maybe, obviously better, more expensive amplifiers that may give you those single-digit improvements down the road, Emotiva's products, the Basex and especially the XPA line, God, that XPA line, that gets you so close to some of the best you're going to hear for, I don't know, the sales tax of what something esoteric might cost you. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I've always enjoyed pairing the preamp outs on Marantz receivers to Emotiva products a lot. So David writes, sounds like you're ceiling mounting BioLab 90s. That would be crazy. But no, I will not be ceiling mounting BioLab 90s. Oh, that would be funny though. Let's see here. I saw a couple of questions here I wanted to go back to. Hi. Oh, Vadim's in the house. Hey. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Just catching up, trying to find. John, you had a good one here. Starting out my hi-fi journey, I bought a pair of Klipsch Forte 4s. Fantastic speakers, by the way. Even though I only have a Win amp to power them, since I need HDMI ARC connectivity, would a Marantz 40N be a good match? Yes. The Marantz 40N would be a fantastic match for the Forte 4s. If you want other possibilities along those lines, but because you need HDMI, you could look into Audiolab's new 6000 series. Just got a version 2 that has HDMI. I haven't played with it yet, but I can attest that the Audiolab products 6000 and 7000A series play very well with the Forte 4s. I'm not going to say better or worse than the Marantz 40N. They're just different. They're an option. They're not quite as expensive, if memory serves, as the 40N if you're looking for a budget solution. Keeping with the Marantz, you could go with the Marantz Model M1, which is a $1,000 little whim-like product from Marantz. I think it's fabulous. There is a Denon variant that's a couple $100 cheaper. I haven't played with it, but you might want to check that one out as well. But those are all really, really good options. Oh, look, Caleb's in the house. Caleb, if you are still here in the house, the TV I just installed this week from a brand, I don't think it's under embargo anymore. Anyway, I need to reach out to you. We need to catch up. Because I don't know if you have it yet or not, but very interested to hear your thoughts. Hold on, need a drink. Alrighty. Let's see. Matt, thank you. Oh, I realized I was up too high. Up. When are you going to Emotiva to listen to Dire Straits? Oh man, I can't listen to Dire Straits because of Dan Loftman anymore. I mean, geez, that is the only thing that man would play for years was Dire Straits. Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's so funny. All right, Vadim, hope everyone is doing well. Glad to see you back. Need a crash course on low versus high output cartridges and such. Any way to make low output cart higher in volume with a built-in phono stage? Ooh, I am the wrong person to ask on that one. You are getting into a new level of minutia with turntables, my friend, that I just never bothered to dabble in too much. Especially, I mean, if you're using an external phono preamp, I know of ways to help you with that. And there are some great external phono preamps that can, adjust for things like that. But knowing that you're on the Alva TT and using its internal phono pre, I don't know what to do in that situation. That would be a question for Cambridge directly. But yeah. We'll catch up, Vadim. We'll catch up. I'll give you a call. You can fill me in on what you're up to, and I'll do my best to give you some help. But no, man, when it comes to cartridges, like especially with an internal phono preamp, like I've just done my best throughout my career to sort of match the right output to what the table likes or what the internal specs ask for. I have run across external phono preamps that are quite adjustable, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be your situation. So I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. Best to you both. I'm a doc and still had much to learn last year on assisted living with a family member. For you, how much are the Titans an upgrade over the Cornwalls? They are not an upgrade. They're just different. And if you tune in on Sunday for Sunday's video about a speaker that I'm pretty sure is going to surprise a lot of you. Many of you probably have never even heard of this brand, but they're definitely someone to be on the lookout for. I kind of talk about it. I kind of talk about your question a little bit. I'm not going to say that the Titans are necessarily an upgrade or a downgrade. They're just completely different, and I like them for different reasons. Admittedly, I like my Cornwalls when I go to work on them. And when I set them up the way I like them, I find them to be just some of the best speakers I've ever heard. On their own, without me going in and kind of tuning them to my room using DSP, I think the Titans are actually easier to get to that superlative level of performance than, say, the Cornwall 4s. But when I have my Cornwall 4s dialed in, oh, man, they're good. They're so good. Admittedly, though, like if I'm doing low-level stuff like them on my Deckware with like the mini DSP acting as a preamp, it's pretty nice for that like 50 to maximum SPL in room of about 70. Like it's so smooth. It just hits you right here. Like I love that. But when I really want to open those bad boys up and I really want to tap into what they're capable of, like when I had them on the Musical Fidelity New Vista, was it 600.2? Oh, wow. I loved that so much. The Macintosh gear, loved it. But I will admit that if you're not going to go to those extremes, or you just don't want a 2.5 foot wide speaker in your room, the Titans are actually easier to live with and do a lot of things in a similar way, but do a lot of things differently. And they're easier to kind of get to that level, in my opinion, than the Cornwalls. Welcome back. Hope all is well. When will you start the consulting gig? I'm looking forward to some professional advice for my home theater project. Obviously, I was hoping to be further along by now in a lot of things. Did not have basically turning work off for 2 months on my bingo card when early January we made it known that we had, all these goals for 2025. So I'm playing catch up. I don't know when that's going to start. I really don't. Hopefully sometime soon-ish, maybe over the summer. But again, I'm still just trying to get... Kristi and I have only been in town back home for about a week. A little over, actually. So we are still very much just trying to get back in a groove and get back to all of our commitments that we essentially just hit pause on with no ETA on when we were going to pick them up. So unfortunately, the consulting goal and want is still one that I have, but it's probably going to get pushed a little bit while I play catch up with some other commitments that I have. Dwayne, glad to hear things are a bit better for you too. Continued best wishes and prayers. Not sure if you've had time, but did you see The Pit? Yes, oddly enough, when we got back into town and we were just absolutely just tired. Like, I swear, the first 3 days that we were back home, we didn't do anything. Not because we didn't want to do stuff. It's just like we would literally like start work and then within like an hour, I was just like, man, I'm tired. And Kristi would be like, I'm exhausted. So yeah, the first couple of days we were back, we kind of just binge shows that we had not seen while we were gone. And Pit was one of them. We finished it. Yeah, it's a fabulous show. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The final, I guess it would be the final 2 episodes, I can attest from personal experience, like they nailed it. They nailed it. Those episodes took me back. But they did a really, really good job. And they did that kind of situation. And I hope other doctors would agree, because I was on the more patient side of it. Masterful. Like those 2 last episodes, the Emmys go to The Pit. They just should. There's great show. Clem, my folks sent me a Case Logic full of hundreds of my old CDs. I don't care what people say. CDs are the worst. CDs are the worst. Good to see you. Yeah. I have no desire. Maybe I'm weird. I have no desire to get into like CD collecting and things like that. I know everyone swears up, down, left, right, and center, like they're back. And it's like, yeah, okay.
What's back?
You are.
Oh, besides me.
Watch your foot. Chris Veltman.
Oh, hey, Veltman. What dumb shit are you getting into?
Yeah, he says that he doesn't care what people say. CDs are the worst.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, I lived through them, and I have no desire to go back.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
How's that for an entrance, guys?
I got to pull up the video. How do I even do this?
You've been out of commission for 70 plus days.
Has anyone missed me?
I missed you.
I know you did, because you're amazing. But you are biased.
So what?
I mean, I agree.
So what?
I do agree. Oh, I'm going to give you your 65th like.
There you go. Dwayne writes, regarding your last review, musical fidelity, although there is probably no contest, how would you rate XPA monos? You know, it's not that there's no contest. The problem with comparing a strict mono amplifier like the XPA-1 or those XPA-H, the little ones, with something like the musical fidelity is that the musical fidelity, the 600.2, is the culmination of a lot of different things, not just an amplifier. There's that preamp section, there's the New Vista tubes and the Class A. So it's really hard to say, like, will a pair of Emotiva mono blocks to any preamp come close when you're kind of comparing the total experience of, say, a luxury automobile to just the raw horsepower of an engine from a competing automobile. So I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. Can you build a system that is at a high performing level sonically that could hang with the New Vista around XPA ones? Absolutely, you could. Absolutely. Understand that you're taking on more physical space for a system like that. 2 boxes, more cables. You got to source the right preamp. Yada yada yada. But that's kind of how I look at it. It's like the 600.2 is it's a total package, and so it's hard to compare. Like, what is it about the 600.2 that's really putting that extra sauce on the top? That little extra flavor. Is it the preamp? Is it the amp? Is it the fact that they were voiced to go together? It's hard to say. What is your advice for home theater front channels? A pair of gold 106Gs without a center, Monitor Audio SB4 passive soundbar, Sonos Arc Ultra. I already have in-ceiling Atmos and surrounds. Well, if you already have in-ceiling Atmos and surrounds, that sounds like a passive system. So the Arc Ultra being active and needing to exist within Sonos's own ecosystem, that's automatically out. Gold 106Gs without a center channel is where I would likely go, just because I don't mind a Phantom center, and the Monitor Audio Gold series is fantastic. I've never heard their passive soundbar, so I can't say. So my gut tells me, if it were me in your situation, I would go with the Gold 106Gs. Afonso, preferred level 80 to 85 dB. Can better speakers make lower volumes more satisfying? They can. Sensitivity, higher sensitivity, impedance that doesn't vary too much can also make lower volumes more satisfying. Good cabinet construction can make lower volumes more satisfying. But it's not a hard and fast rule. You know what I mean? Like the Radiant Acoustics that we reviewed that no one watched, they were great at higher volumes. Great at that 80 to 85 and up, like distortion free, like amazing. Not the biggest fan down low, like at quieter volumes. Not super awesome. Needed a little bit of pick up and go, whereas, a B&W 700 series bookshelf, while it takes a good amplifier, is pretty intelligible at all volumes. And that sonic contrast can be enjoyed quite a bit easier. So I think I'm all caught up there. Going back to other questions.
What?
I just saw that Chris asked, what bad habits did Katie learn from your in-laws?
You'll have to address those. Although I feel like she's starting to get back.
She is.
To her normal Katie
Yeah.
self.
The week that I was back here tending to some business and taking deliveries, and it was just Katie and me, she was full on, I don't know you, and refers to me like
have you told the story of the airport?
No. No,
Have you
I don't
recovered?
think I don't think I've said that. So when I flew back for that 5 or 6 days that I was in town by myself, and we did the last live stream that I did, my dad picked me up at the airport, and he brought Katie because my parents were watching her, and he brought her into the terminal. And I had in my head this Disney-esque pictured reunion, where she's going to see me walking on the tarmac, and she's going to jump all over me and lick my face, and it's going to be great. That did not happen.
He should have remembered we have a
husky.
Our dog is a husky.
And she actually let me walk completely past her while she was more attentive to complete strangers. She would have gone home with someone from 3B instead of, me. And it broke my heart. I had to physically bend down. And even when I bent down, like a kid, like trying to see the screen, she was just like looking over my shoulder at other things. And I had to like grab her face and be like, look. And then when she like made eye contact, she was like, oh, have you been there the whole time? And I'm like, you're such a snot.
He was pretty crushed.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt
because
bad.
I was still in Texas when he told me what happened. And honestly, I was afraid that when I got back, she was going to do the same to me because would have been gone for even longer. But thankfully, we also made the smarter decision to meet her in the parking lot of the airport rather than bringing her in to be enticed by others. So she did acknowledge me to a better degree, higher degree than I think she did Andrew. But still, it was a bit... She's still like, if she's outside somewhere new, it's, she's all about that. So I just have to keep my emotions, expectations in check. But ever since I've been back, she's pretty much stuck by my side the whole time. So that's been sweet.
Yeah. But she's dirty, though. We had to cancel her last grooming because it fell while we were out of town. So she hasn't been groomed in like a little over 2 months.
Yeah, it's bad.
And she is dirty.
Oh, she's so dirty. It's just unbelievable.
I did not sleep at all because she decided to groom herself at like 1:15 in the morning. And she really sleeps kind of not on the bed, but she sleeps on my side of the bed. And I'm super sensitive to sounds, especially when I'm unconscious. And so, especially like repeating rhythmic noises, which when she's cleaning herself, or like if you have cats or dogs when they're about to be sick, that kind of rhythmic sound that they make, it just gets me every time. And she wouldn't stop, so I had to sleep in the guest bedroom last night to get away from her.
Yeah,
I love you though.
That's how dirty she is.
She's pretty bad.
She looks pretty ratchet, not gonna lie. But when is her groom appointment? Wednesday or something?
Yeah, it's coming Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna be a day for the books.
Yeah, she's gonna make clouds, dirty storm clouds coming out of just shooting everywhere. All right. Stefan, Kev LS62 plus sub versus soundbar. It really does depend. Nothing against the Kef LSX. We've had that speaker in this house twice. I think it is a really, really pretty, well-designed, very capable speaker. I just personally don't have a room in our home where it is a good fit. It doesn't have enough output for our main room, in which case an LS50 wireless or LS60 wireless is a better fit for our main room. And it's borderline in our bedroom, but it's too much system for like guest rooms. And I don't run a desktop system. So every time I've tried to revisit the LSX line, I keep sending it back going, I'm just not the right guy to talk about this with any kind of real, I don't want to say understanding, but I don't have a situation where this speaker really would work for me. So I'm not 100% that I would give it a fair shake. So if you're in a smaller apartment, you have a smaller space, yes, the LSX could work, and with a sub, no doubt. As for how would it compare to a soundbar, again, if you're going with the soundbar by itself, obviously LSX with a subwoofer may have more bass, but if you're going with a soundbar and a sub combination, now we're a little bit more on an even playing field. Now, the one thing that a soundbar might give you is some element of faux surround or 360 degree spatial quality that the LSXs won't do. So it just kind of comes down to like what's your end goal really? Because Sonos Arc Ultra with their new sub probably run circles around the LSX with a sub in terms of flexibility and being able to do a lot of different things with a two-piece solution. But if you're looking for a more hi-fi stereo imaging experience, then yeah, the LSX in a smaller environment will scratch that itch better. Afonso writes, some Atmos mixes sound better than stereo to me. How's your experience with Atmos on stereo speakers? Kind of the same. I mean, it really depends if the product that I'm using, like for example, if I am listening in stereo, but I have the Marantz M1 connected and I turn on virtualization, oh my God, there's no hi-fi, traditional hi-fi stereo system at that price point that can really touch that sense of spaciousness, that sense of three-dimensionality in terms of height and almost wraparound sound. Now you turn on virtualization, listen to the same track. It's not quite the same, but it is better. But if you're going with, say, an Atmos, encoded streaming song from, say, Apple Music into the A8, which is going out, analog to the new Vista 600.2, hard pressed to say if it's night and day better from the equivalent just stereo CD track or whatnot. So it does seem to vary a little bit. Now, obviously, if you have a multi-channel setup, Atmos is going to give you a completely different experience.
It seems like there was an extra comment from Afonso. I asked that because in 90% of the cases, Atmos mixes have no limiting on the mix. So it is much more quiet and dynamic than the stereo mix that has been limited and clipped to achieve loudness.
I will say that the dynamic range of Atmos encoded tracks do appear to be different than their CD counterparts. That's something that I've noticed pretty much across the board when listening to Atmos stuff, at least on Apple Music. Like, you kind of have to go up a little higher if you want the full dynamic range, whereas you can switch from the Atmos encoded and go back, like if you go in the artist section in Apple Music and it's like this one's got the little Atmos tag and the other one doesn't, and you leave the volume where you had it for Atmos, you go down to the normal CD and you'll be like, oh shoot, I gotta turn that down. So yeah, you are right on that. David, thank you so much, but okay, here we go. Super glad you're both back. Have my new RZ30, 8000F Mark IIs, SB2000 Pro, all chosen by your gracious guide. Having to rack, upgraded to Pro, a must. SVS app, clips mode, where to start, what order. You don't have to upgrade to the base management or Pro version if this is your first or kind of initial steps into home theater or stereo. If you're going to use Dirac that's built into the RZ30 that you've already paid for, don't really make any adjustments in the SVS app, and aside from, say, volume, because you're going to do all of that inside the RZ30. The SVS app is better if you're more of a strict 2-channel situation where maybe you have a subwoofer out of, your integrated or your preamp, but it doesn't do like higher level bass management. That's where the SVS app really comes into play. Or if it has gotten its firmware update, I don't know if it has or not, but if it has its firmware update and you don't have something like Dirac, you can still use EQ inside the SVS app in a system that may not have something like Dirac or Odyssey, things like that. So if you're using Dirac in the RZ30's internal speaker setup and bass management and room correction, just set the volume in the SVS app. Clips mode, you can play with it. To me, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I don't personally use it. And then start there. Now, if you add bass management, or Dirac bass control, bass management, whatever it's called, I think you'll notice some definite improvements in the low end and in the handoff between the sub and the speakers themselves. But I would start with what you have first. Get really comfortable with that. Get really used to it. That way, when you add the higher level Dirac add-ons, you will have a better understanding of not only what to do and how to take advantage of them, but the sonic differences that they do make. So that's how I would start. Great question. Let's see. Kev Q11 Meta versus Martin Logan Motion F100 with matching centers as an LCR anchor for a 7.1.2 music movie room, 18 by 20. Hope you're both hanging in there. It's going to come down to two things. One, what kind of sound do you want? If you're someone that is a lot more neutral leaning, it kind of goes by the measurements, Kef all day. Kef all day. If you're someone that likes something that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more bombastic, contrasty, with some greater bass output, but maybe not as much linearity top to bottom, Martin Logan. It's really kind of that simple. So if you're like, no, man, I've been known to play air guitar, and I've been known to want to recreate the cinema experience until I sweat, until beads of sweat come off my face. Probably Martin Logan. But if you're like, no, I don't want to monkey with the signal. I could turn it up for the feels, but I want to make sure that there's no extra anything being potentially injected, then Kef. Both are great, though. Both are great. Oh no. It jumped on me. Let's see. Where was I? Here we go. Eddie Tours, have you listened to the Music in Night 1? Don't even know what that is. Let me see. Gonna Google that real fast.
I've never heard of this person. Night 1.
By Terry London. What? No, I have not. Is this the same Terry London that used to work for me? Well, now I know what oh no, he just reviewed them. Okay. I was like, for a second there, I'm like, Terry London came out with a speaker. No, he's still the reviewer. No, I have not reviewed them. I hadn't even heard of them till just now. So no, but I'm leaving the tab open on my Chrome here so that I can figure out what this is. Brad, love you guys. I have the Onkyo RZ50. I'm running a Klipsch R26FA 5.1.2 set, looking to upgrade. What do you think about the mid-range SVS or your thoughts? Mid-range SVS meaning like their new Evolution line, maybe not going all the way up to their flagship, but just the tower or the bookshelves. I think they're great. And if you're coming from Klipsch, I think you're going to find there to be some potential similarities, but I think you'll find that there's also going to be some refinements there overall, in which case I would have no hesitation in recommending if that's the move you want to make. I think SVS's new Evolution line is fabulous, top to bottom. I really, really do. Bought Sonus Faber Duettos because of your video review and can't be more happy and satisfied. Enjoying music every day. Keep up the amazing content. Those were good.
What?
The Sonus Faber Duettos, the powered, basically Luminas on steroids. We had them at the very beginning of...
Do we like them?
We did. No, we did. We did.
I don't remember, to be honest.
It was last year.
Okay.
But no, they were good.
I remember they were pretty to look at.
Yeah.
I just don't remember
No, we did.
much about this. I trust you. It's just time is
Yeah.
kind of a black hole for me right now. I don't really recall them as much, but I'm sure we probably did like a follow up on them or something and Unplugged. So you can go. We can all go back and watch it and see what I thought.
They were good. They were good. I enjoyed them. I'm glad that you're enjoying them. And for you Sonus Faber fans, I got confirmation yesterday that some new Sonus Faber speakers are en route. So they will be returning to the channel. David, how much difference in sound quality will a HiFi Rose RS250 streamer make versus a WIM Ultra? Currently running Sonus Faber Sonetto V and Heigl H390. Can't stream with Heigl because no hardwired Ethernet connection. If you're just using it as a transport, wait a minute. Heigl H390. Gosh. Now I am going to speak somewhat out of turn here because you guys know that Heigl doesn't speak to us for some weird reason. Let's see. Heigl 390. So I need to look this up real fast. Okay. So I'm seeing what appears to be built-in DACs. So if you're using the Heigl as a streamer, or not as a streamer, but you're using the DAC inside the Heigl, and so your HiFi Rose or the WIM are just transports, meaning you're going optical or coaxial out of those into the DAC inside the Heigl. I would caution against anyone, myself included, in saying that there's going to be a night and day difference when using either product as a transport. Not to say that there won't be a difference, but it's possible that the differences may be minute, or that your room, your setup, your ambient room tone, if you will, could swallow up any of the gains or differences that would exist between the two. Now, if you're using the digital to analog conversion inside the HiFi Rose or the WIM and going analog out of those devices into one of the analog inputs of the Heigl, you may experience appreciable gains from something like the HiFi Rose, which may have better power supplies, better isolation, things like that. But as a transport, where the digital to analog conversion is being handled within the Heigl, I think that you would be fine using just a WIM Ultra. That's just me. Daniel Wass, I have a pair of I have a 3-year wait, but what bookshelf, high efficiency, good at low volume speaker to pair with a Deckware amp? Any experience with Omega? Love you both. 3-year wait. 3-year wait. Wow. High efficiency, good at low volume. I don't have any experience with Omega speakers. As I understand it, they would work pretty well. Obviously, Steve Deckert makes a higher efficiency bookshelf speaker that does work very well with his amplifiers. That may be something that you might want to look at. It's been well over a decade since I've heard it, so I don't want to comment good or bad, but it is an option, and it comes from the same designer, so you know that that's going to be a good match. The brand that I used to lean on for low-level listening was Parker Audio, but I don't believe they're around anymore. But they made some fabulous speakers that paired very well with Deckware amps back in the day, that super affordable. I mean, not the sexiest looking products, to be honest with you, but sounded great and could be enjoyed at lower volumes all day long. So definitely look into the Omega, though. They do seem to have quite a few products that would probably fit that niche, that would work well with Deckware. What is most needed for a black background? Well, in simple terms, obviously, you don't want too much AC line noise. You don't want ground loop hum issues. You want that to be clean, because you could have the quietest room in the world, and if you have things like tweeter hiss or ground loop hum, that's going to make it all the more audible. Other than that, you really want a room that's pretty, things like AC vents, AC, just ACs in general. You're going to want to try and keep that to a minimum, because if you can close the doors on your room, I'm not saying bake yourself in a hot room, but you may want to pre-cool a room and then turn your AC off if you're doing like serious listening. I've done that before, like when I go to measure speakers or stuff like that. Like I'll run the AC, especially in the summer, like I'll run it and I'll cool the room down a lot more than what is mostly comfortable, because I'll kick the AC off for the next couple of hours as the temperature rises back up. But that way I'm not distracted by that. If you obviously can isolate your room from outside noises, I mean, I hate to say it, like I don't want to be in a listening room without windows, but you can get rid of windows, you can get rid of proximity to things with fans, things with, ambient persistent noise. That's all going to contribute to having the lowest possible noise floor at idle in your room, so that dynamics, contrast, those black backgrounds are even more appreciable. What's your take on the Singer Porsche Reimagine, LA-based company that mods early 70s 911s to great specs but keeps other pedigree and ethos of the brand's early DNA? Weekend track car. Oh, I love them. I think they're beautiful. I have no issues with them whatsoever. I'm not saying that everything that they've ever done to a 911 is something that I would do myself, but whenever their products, their creations come across like my social media feeds or stuff, I just drool. No, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. So, Let's see. Yuri, do you guys watch F1? If so, is this because of Netflix series Drive to Survive? I don't watch F1 live. I actually wait. I actually wait until the new season of Drive to Survive comes out because I find it so much. It's not that I should say it's so much more interesting than watching things live, but the races air so early in the morning, and the coverage on Drive to Survive is so good that that's how I watch and catch up on F1. Let's see, where was I? Just came out yesterday. What just came out yesterday?
Some movie.
Oh, what are movies?
I told Chris that we had been watching The Studio.
Oh, on Apple TV.
Yeah. And
yes.
how much I love Catherine Hahn's character. She's amazing.
I will say, if you are a cinephile and you're into old Hollywood, while The Studio does take place in present day, there's a lot of nods to old Hollywood, and the camera department on that show is so effing good. They are doing things with camera movement that you just do not see. There's so many like drone shots that turn into handheld shots that go back to being drone shots. There's so many oneers. I mean, besides the episode that was entirely a oneer, they do oneers a lot on that show.
And a oneer is a scene where everything is all one take, so you're not seeing any cuts that have been done by an editor.
Yeah.
So from start to finish, every person, whether they're a background actor or the main characters, the camera crew, the lighting, the sound people, they all have to be in exactly the right place at the right time. And if anything is missed or messed up, a line flubbed, you have to go back to one and start all over. They're very hard to do. Very hard to do.
I did a oneer one time, and we didn't plan to do it. We didn't plan to do it, but we kind of had to because we were running out of time. Sometimes oneers end up happening because I had an AD one time. He said to me, because we were losing light and we were shooting this scene in all available light, we were losing light, and he came up to me and nothing was going right. I mean, nothing. That was a whole day that if we had studio kind of money, not that you can throw away money on a film set, but if we had studio money, I would have just called it and said, we'll pick this up tomorrow and we'll take an extra shoot day here, or, reshoots or whatever. But when you're making an independent film, you can't do that. Anyway, nothing I had boarded, nothing we had rehearsed, nothing was working. And so he came to me and he's like, all right, Andrew, do you want one shot or do you want one scene? And I remember looking at him going like, well, I want all the shots for the scene. And he's like, do you want one shot or do you want one scene? And when he said that to me, I realized, I was like, oh, he's right. Because we have about 20 minutes of daylight and I have about 5 more setups that I need. And I still don't have this scene, and it's kind of important. Oh no. And so we did. We grabbed 3 cameras and we just all rolled, and we did the whole scene from 3 vantage points. And because I was like, well, he's on a close, and we'll just do the scene as a oneer, but I have 3 vantage points, which is kind of cheating. But we got to editing, and I realized that I couldn't use the other 2. So the wide oneer is what made the film. It was a 4.5 minute long, just like single take. It worked, but it was not planned.
I was in a indie short film back in Austin that was 15 minutes long, and the entire thing was one take.
See, now that would have been, like, as an actor, I think oneer would be fun. It's nerve-wracking as the director. Because as an actor, I wouldn't mind just Oh, we got to go over it, do it again?
Yeah, but when there's a lot of pressure, because if you're the one person that messes up,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a lot more. That's sweet and all about the director business, but yeah, it's way more serious as an actor, way more pressure. Anyway, I'm sure we've lost about a dozen or so.
No.
On our story time tangent.
No.
Our side quest.
Our side quest. Well, Dan wrote, hope family is well. I have a Sony STR AZ5000 with DevTech DM40 towers, KEF R2C center, and KEF eggs as rear and Atmos. Would you swap them with Def? If you like them, and if the system's working for you and everything sounds good, don't make a change just to change something. You know what I mean? Like, just, if it works and it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, if something is failing or you're like, man, I'm just not getting the same quality or tonality of sound everywhere that I get out of my DevTechs, then yes, maybe consider a shift. But if it's working for you, stick with it. Someone had what is this? Michael wrote, I just sold my apartment and I want a stereo setup for $25,000. What to get?
I just responded to that person, and where did it go? Where'd my reply go? Weird.
Oh, I wouldn't spend it all on a stereo, but that's just me. That's what you wrote.
Yeah.
I have to say, I second that. I mean, I don't know if you sold your apartment for all in $25,000 or that's like
you made
$25,000 profit. If that's your profit, I still wouldn't spend it all on I mean, you do what you want to do, and what makes you happy. But if that's like all of your funny money, I would maybe think about $5,000 for a stereo system and $20,000 in the bank account for a rainy day.
Same. Or use it to travel. Like, I don't know what stage in life you're in, so there's not enough context, in my opinion, to fully give you any advice. Not that anything we say really matters. You're the one that's going to have to make that decision. So, congrats.
Yes.
Good luck. Have fun with coming up with your answer.
This one caught my eye. Would you rather have 2 Beolab 8s and a sub, or 2 A9s? And this is actually something, a particular question that obviously, if you've watched our channel and you've seen the Beolab 8 review as well as our A9 review, this is a question that's been kind of plaguing you and I for some time. And I actually have made some calls and hope to be bringing you a more definitive answer on this in the not too distant future. Let's see, what else have I missed?
I think you're caught up.
I think I'm all caught up, but I just want to see if there's anything that caught my eye that I earmarked, but I needed to get back to. You all right over there, Katie? So yeah, I think, I'm all caught up. I don't remember. Alexander said, gotta be an A9. Wow, thanks for the advice. It's a great speaker. It's so good. So good. I think we're all, nope, no sooner. No sooner do I say I'm all caught up. Here come some questions. Chris Feldman, if I had $25K, I'd go to the beach and fly a kite.
I mean, I would go to the beach too. I don't know if I'd fly a kite, but yeah.
Yeah. Heck, 25?
Shoot, I would put $25,000 towards buying a home in Spain or France.
Same brain. I was
Or
just
Italy,
thinking,
maybe.
I was just thinking, I'm like, 25, that might get you the down on some of those condos or apartments.
Yeah, that I've been looking at.
That you've been looking at in, was it Malaga or no?
Marbella.
Marbella.
No, so part of my downtime since I got back from Texas has just been turning my brain off because I was just, while I was there dealing with my parents, it was constantly go, 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 go. And so I've just been fantasy shopping for homes outside of the U.S., thinking that it could be a good retirement investment, potentially.
Well, we really like Spain.
Oh, I love Spain. I love Spain. I love France. I
Yeah.
love Italy. I could honestly be happy in any of those countries. So that's what we've been playing around with, that idea. So yeah, 25 grand, definitely put it towards.
Yeah, I think that would get you a solid down on an apartment or condo.
I think you might have to pay the whole. Well, it depends on the country, but
Yeah.
I believe that if you spend a certain amount of money in real estate, you can get a like a residence visa or something. I don't know if that's still true. At one point, it was.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Anybody that lives in Spain or Italy or France that's watching, I welcome your thoughts and advice.
I love France. I love Paris, but I think Spain is like, at least that area, like
Andalusia, I think is how you say it. Andalusia, I don't know.
But yeah, the coastal area of Spain, it's like, it's got a lot of the things, the light that I love about France in a lot of ways, but it's a little bit slower pace. It's not quite as expensive as Paris. And then if you needed to get to Paris, it's just a little quick jaunt.
Well, I also think the language would be easier, at least for me, to learn. I already know some Spanish. I know you took French, and you're
I read it better.
wholly worthless. And
I read it better
France.
than I speak it.
Sure.
Sure.
You just keep telling yourself that, babe.
Yeah. I was a bad
Portugal, no. Afonso, I have not been to Portugal. Before I met Andrew, I was planning a solo trip to Portugal because I wanted to do Lisbon and Porto and some other areas around there. And then I met him and it just didn't happen. But it's definitely on our list now of places
for sure.
to go.
For sure. Well, I have a question here I got to answer. Something weird is happening in Europe. How's that for a transition? Gen Z is buying vintage hi-fi systems because they like to listen to vinyl. Is this a trend too in the U.S.? Yeah. I mean, you could argue, is it as big of a trend as it was 4 or 5 years ago here in the U.S.? The numbers, you could debate that. Definitely was at a fever pitch years ago. Maybe it's slowed a little bit, or it's plateaued. It maybe and not gone down, but it's not crazy on the rise. Now the younger generations are experiencing CDs and tape, cassette tapes, kind of for the first time and having fun with that. But is it going to revive markets? No, it really won't. But yeah, it's a trend for sure. It's a trend. Let's see. What system would you put in your Spanish abode and then DB immediately below? Bang & Olufsen. DB gets me.
What's that?
Mixtress wrote, what system would you put in your Spanish abode? And then DB immediately below. Bang & Olufsen.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about that one. Guys, if you are so inclined, go to Architectural Digest's YouTube channel. Not right now, when we're done. Go to Architectural Digest YouTube channel. Look at the new video of Lenny Kravitz's Paris home. if you're into hi-fi and you're into Bang & Olufsen like I am, his house is gorgeous, and you need to watch it anyway because the man has style and a deal with the devil, because him and Jared Leto are like 60, but they're 21. Like,
Yeah,
they don't age.
Well, but he also wears sunglasses at all times. So you really can't tell what's going on around the eyes.
I'm just saying.
But no, he still looks fabulous
Yeah.
regardless. But he has some of the best taste.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen his Brazil home. I think it's Brazil. There's another AD, Architectural Digest, also visited that particular home, and it's just as amazing. But this one, I think he even outdid himself in this one.
This one is,
Some of the
I need to be a guest.
Yeah, I would love to be a guest. Like when he said there was this one room where there's framed pictures and paintings all over it, and he said, "Yeah, I consulted with the framers for the Louvre to outfit all of my artwork here." So he has Louvre level framing for his art.
See, and that
it's gorgeous.
And that wasn't even the part that impressed me. The opening shot, so you walk through his doors, and in his foyer, which is stunning, by the way, he has a custom-built one-off Steinway that he designed.
Oh yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And I'm like, okay, when Steinway is making you your own custom piano, you've made it. Like, that's...
Well, he collaborated with them to make it, but yeah.
Right, but it's just like...
Yeah, that's...
The zebra wood Steinway. I was just like...
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Whether you're into that style of design or that type of wood, that is subjective, but just, it was a piece of art, and it's like right in the middle of this spiraling marble staircase, and it couldn't be more beautiful. And then off in the corners, he's got a pair of... they didn't do a close-up on him. He's got a vintage pair of Biolab 1s that look like pillars off in the corners that have been custom etched. So there's this whole like tribal etching into the aluminum, and it's stunning. His whole place is stunning. Okay. Have a house in Spain. Dealing with the craftsman is a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm chatting with this person right now that we have similar problems finding skilled craftsmen that are reliable here.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just about to respond to this person again because they came back and said, fair enough, but searching and getting someone to work for over a year. Yeah, actually, it took over a year for us to get our pool. Get someone to put our pool in.
Yeah.
We interviewed multiple people, had some pretty crap experiences, even got to the contract phase with one of them, and ended up, they decided they didn't want to work with us because part of their agreement was that, by the way, and I'm paraphrasing, but still, if they were to run into our house with like a bulldozer or something, they wouldn't be responsible. And when we raised that issue, that doesn't seem legal and very one-sided, and make the contract very one-sided.
Yeah.
And ultimately, all we asked was for them to strike that, and they decided they didn't want to work with us, and so we had to start all over.
Yeah.
They
could have destroyed our home, and we were indemnifying them of any responsibility. And it's like, whoa, that's something you bring up on a first date. And basically their response was like, yeah, we're not gonna. And it's like, yes, but if you do, even as an accident, and they're just like, you're being difficult, we're leaving.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. So
and we're like, okay, fine.
So speaking of the pool, did you ever get the pool sorted and finished? The pool is finished. Like the physical pool and the surrounding coping walkways, that is all done, thankfully. But the entire backyard build out is still not finished. I would say that if you're going off of just, is the pool usable, swimmable, operational, that is 100% done.
Yes.
But
And it turned out great.
it turned out great. We love it. Yeah. And we use it a lot. But in terms of the entire outdoor backyard plan that we thought we were going to be able to pull off in a single year, I would say we're 70% done. We still have to
The
do
backyard plan? No, I would say we're not done at all.
well, we still have to do, we have landscaping.
Yes.
We have sound. We have some picture to do. The furniture.
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
Well, tell me which 70%'s done.
Well, the pool and the fact that we now have a yard and a wall.
But you were talking about landscaping, and
Okay.
which is 0% done.
Yeah, 0% done. It's, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need some rock. Right now, we just have dirt or surrounding the pool and the sidewalk, concrete areas. So yeah, no underwater speakers, Miss Mixtress.
No, but above water, yes. Right now we're using Bluetooth speakers, and I'm actually okay with the Bluetooth speakers, to be honest, but I do understand, like, you want something installed and wired and a little bit more permanent, and I get it.
I do. I want it all. One thing that spending all the time in Dallas, oh God, that city. Not even that city. I think if I were in, close to downtown, I would be fine, but the surrounding suburbs are just where, oh God, hope goes to die.
We are unplugged and unfiltered.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, I grew up around there. I grew up in the suburbs of Dallas, and so just having to be back there for 2 months straight just nearly destroyed the light inside me. I've come to this conclusion. It's like, why wait? Why wait to do things? Like, why wait to go do the thing that you really want to do?
Yeah.
It's not like we have we don't have children, right? So we're not going to leave anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I've just been worrying less about, well, can we afford it, or should we do this? And just been like, F it. What am I waiting for? I want to do the thing that makes us happy now, instead of putting it off to a place in our life where we may not even be able to enjoy it. I mean, you never know what's going to hit you, whether it's financially, mentally, physically.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, it's a fair point. We definitely, even more so than kind of last year, we've definitely had a lot more conversations, you and I, about, like, not going into, like, we're not talking, when she says, financially, like, we're not being reckless and doing things that we can't afford. We're not putting stuff on credit. We're taking out loans that, things like that. But you know how you're always like, there's stuff that maybe you want, or a trip that you want, or a place you want to go see. And you're always, we always used to say there's never a good time, or now's not a good time. I shouldn't say there's never a good time. Now's not a good time. And so we just put it off and put it off. And lately, yeah, we're doing that a little bit less, or we're strategizing to do that a little bit less. Like, just last week or week before was the Milan furniture design show. And we've been watching that stuff from afar through social media and vendors and stuff for 2 or 3 years now. And we're going next year. Like, we're going to do it. Like, we're just going to do it. And we'll figure it out. But making those kinds of commitments and just saying to yourself, like, put it on the calendar, like holding your feet to the fire to make something happen. Because, yeah, I can always look at something like this channel or work and go, oh, man, we can't miss a video, and we can't do this, we can't do that. And then you miss out on, these experiences. And, that it's little things like that. Like, we preach, buy right, buy once. Don't buy the flavor of the month. Save for the thing you really wanted, because it's going to be a bigger deal, and you're going to use it more, respect it more, be more fulfilled by it if it's the thing that you wanted and you worked for. It's like it's so weird to me and so funny to me, like how much people are waking up to like this newer way of thinking. Because I think for the last couple of years, everything's just been so disposable. And I know from a channel perspective, like my thing is I get it right now. Like the whole global economy is like,
good luck.
Good luck. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And so the tendency, I think, the knee-jerk reaction is going to be for a lot of people to hold or to only look at inexpensive. And for me, as a creative person, like I don't ever try and, make financial judgments or sell anybody on anything. But as a creative, like I still need something visually appealing and exciting to talk about and look at and focus on and stuff. And so like, it's not that we're turning our focus luxury. It's just I'm curating hard, probably more hardcore than I have in previous years, where it's like it's not just new that gets you seen. Like it has to be new and different and something exciting, something different, something worthwhile to discuss, and not just, hey, here's X brand with XY product. What makes it different than last year? Honestly, nothing. Like I really want to get away from that because I want to prioritize my time a little bit better than I have in the past. So
I totally agree. What you said a few minutes ago about things being so disposable.
yeah,
And I think a lot of HiFi has become that. Just pushing out product after product. It's the next cheap thing is the next best thing. And like, really, is it? I don't buy it.
yeah,
And I frankly think anyone could probably spend their money on something else and be happier. Not even I'm not even saying like spend your money on HiFi stuff, which I know is counterintuitive considering that's predominantly what our channel is about. But
yeah, it's one of our interests.
It's an interest. It's not our life.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things that I'm thinking more heavily about, like how much do I want to continue to be involved in the HiFi part of the channel. I don't really know yet. Like when Andrew started this live stream, I decided, I've been trying to get up and go do a walk for me in the mornings when the weather's still, manageable, and have a reset, or I don't know if you would call it a reset, but a start to my day. That's for me. And for my mental health, for my physical health, looking at my parents who are in their 70s and 80s, who they've done nothing to take care of themselves. Nothing. In spite of their own personal ailments, that they struggle with. They've done nothing to try to make that better for themselves. And I can't allow myself to do that because, as I said a little bit earlier, like we don't have kids. We don't have somebody that's going to come rescue us because we've made no plans, which is essentially what my parents did. Which, if you're listening and you are at an age or approaching an age where you need to make a decision, start making decisions about that last chapter of your life and what that might look like for yourself, don't ignore it. Don't pretend that you don't need to deal with it, or like that the idea of I'll look at that another day. Don't do it now, especially if you have children, because it's not fair to them for you to not put together any sort of plan of action of what to do with you when it comes to a situation where you will need extra care
Yeah.
You know, don't put that burden on other people just because you were too lazy or bullheaded to deal with it. It's just one of the worst things I think you could do to people, do to your kids. So anyway, that's where my brain has been. So, yeah, I took a walk.
I take walks every day.
And then came in here.
Yeah.
But it's been rough. It's been really rough trying to find a place back, you know. And I know for you it's been similar. You know, you've struggled with just finding the desire, the energy to get back into the swing of things.
Well, I mean, like I was kind of alluding to a second ago, like it's not that the desire's not there. It's just a lot of the stuff that's been pitched is like, hey, will you review this? Will you look at this? It's like, we've talked about it. You know, it's not new. It's like we have a number of products that are here now that I am excited to cover. I'm sure a lot of people will have feelings about them because, you know, maybe the price is not free $99, but at a minimum, at least there's story and different things to talk about versus just utility. You know, everything has become so functional and stuff. It's like, do I want to just kind of go over what something can do, or do I want to go over what it does for you, maybe on an individual, personal, emotional level? Because to me, that's more exciting to talk about. That's more interesting to dive into rather than it does these 12 streaming options. It has this chipset, because everything has that now. So what else is there to talk about? And the stuff that's been pitched to me recently, like, yeah, I've said no to a lot of things because it's just like, this isn't new. I mean, it's new, but it's not new. Whereas like starting with Sunday's video, like, again, it's a brand I'm willing to bet 90% of our audience doesn't know about. And we're talking about hand-built stuff here that is very interesting, you know? And then the following week, we've got, you know, some other stuff. And it's just, I want to keep it interesting on multiple levels, not just, you know, I'm talking about this because it dropped. I'm talking about this because it dropped. I'm talking about this because it dropped. It's
and
like,
I totally understand why channels do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because this is a business for them as well. And I mean, we'll tell you straight off, you know, only putting out a couple of videos over the past couple of months while we've been dealing with my parents has struck us pretty hard financially.
Yeah.
In fact, one of our affiliate partners sent an email with an update for like last month's traffic and like letting us know our check is coming. And they wanted to know, had we changed strategies, reading between the lines, like were we linking to someone else, because the month was so abysmal and the April was looking just as bad. And, you know, like, we value this partnership, but my God, like, so we replied and we're like, no, we've just had to deal with personal situations. And the reply was, oh, good. I'm glad I don't have to, you know, investigate this further, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, so sorry for you. You know, glad you're not going to need to be put out, but... Yeah. Anyway, life is weird. Life is weird, and you want to find some balance, but then you're like, oh, but I need to pay rent or mortgage or whatnot. And
yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it's the challenge everyone faces.
Well, I have a couple of questions. We can steer the conversation back to why
everyone's here.
Fernando, is it worth it to get a HiFi media player like Eversolo, Wim, etc. if my amplifier, Arcam AVR5, already has onboard support for streaming services? In my humble opinion, if you're just looking to get access to the streaming services and you are already familiar with how to access those streaming services through the devices you have and it works for you, no, I don't see a benefit to adding more boxes to your system that give you access to things you've already paid for. So in your case, if your RCam AVR5 already has support for all of this and enables you direct access to it, great. That is my personal opinion. I think too often, because these things are kind of getting to our conversation from 30 seconds ago, because a lot of these products are bordering on free 99 and so ubiquitous in the marketplace as just being everywhere. People are stacking streamers on top of streamers or DACs on top of DACs, not realizing that there's so much redundancy now. So in your case, if you're happy with your RCam, it's doing what you need it to do. It's giving you direct access to the services and subscription things that you pay for. There's no sense in buying a different product that's going to do the exact same thing for you. Emotiva Plus processors are here. Are they? I have been out of the loop. If they are in fact here, the new ones are here, that is a request that I will reach out and make, because I would like to play with their new processors. Obviously, we didn't go over their previous generation processors because those were being designed and developed at a time in which I had affiliation with Emotiva 10, 12 years ago. And it would not be right for me to talk about something that I had insider knowledge of. But this new stuff, I have no clue what it is and what similarities, dissimilarities. I was not part of any of the development. So I would feel very comfortable reviewing those. In fact, I would love to review them if they are in fact available. Like I said, we've only been on the ground for about a week. So I'm still playing catch up with all of my correspondence. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Which speakers you find more dynamic? B&W 606 S3 or ELAC Debut 3.0? Oh, B&W. B&W is more contrasty, for sure. Does that make it better? Not necessarily. It just makes it different. Because it's more contrasty at lower volumes, there might be a greater sense of appreciable intelligibility or detail. You could argue it's artificial because there's a rise in the treble, but that's to each their own. But in terms of dynamic, exciting, contrasty, B&W for sure. So, let's see. Let's see. There was a question here. Oh, I just saw it. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh.
Oh.
What is it?
I think it's some towels I ordered.
Oh. We got some delivery here. Oh, no, I can't find it, guys.
What are you looking for?
There was a question during our conversation a second ago that I wanted to circle back to, but now I can't find it. And I'm so sorry.
Well, what was it about?
You
don't know.
Oh, Chris Veltman. Sorry. Chris, you had asked a question. It's right here. Andrew, do you still have the entire house set up as B&O? Every room except the main room is somewhat dialed in using B&O, but we've made an investment and doubling down on some of that, and I'm really excited for this next step in my personal B&O system journey. Okay. Javier's back. Is it possible for a speaker to be neutral and dynamic at the same time? Yes, it is.
I would say that is the case with the speakers you're reviewing this weekend, wouldn't you say?
Yes, they definitely from like 200, 100 hertz, 100 hertz on up to 20 kilohertz. Whew, they are neutral. They are ruler flat, but they are fun and dynamic as hell. I think a lot of people are going to get a kick out of Sunday's review, but it is possible for a speaker to be neutral and dynamic at the same time. Now, admittedly, I find it to be easier for those two things to coexist when the speaker is powered or uses power plus DSP, but it is possible to get them, get that passively as well. Let's see. George, what is your take on the Samsung flagship soundbar 990F? Haven't heard it yet.
I just replied, did they skip the E?
Oh, because the last one was
D.
D. Oh, yeah.
Did they
skip
come out
it?
with a new? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe because we said, let us know when you actually come out with something new. We haven't even gotten a press release.
Yeah.
I don't think. Wait, did we get an email from Samsung yesterday?
We got an email from Samsung letting us know if we want to link to them for their sales or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, no, I don't have an opinion. I have to look into it, to be honest with you.
George says, yes, they did. They released the 990F and skipped E. Yep, like I said, we're not sure about it. I'll have to Google it or something and see if it's did they do anything new?
Yeah, that's really going to be it. It's like, is it really different? So A, B, C, D. It's more software tweaks than material and electronic tweaks.
I mean, look, the reality is Samsung puts out a great flagship soundbar. Mm-hmm. They've done that since the A version, the 990A or whatever it was called. And everyone has been an incremental improvement, except I think when it went from the B to C.
That was a bigger jump.
That was a bigger jump. So maybe this one will be a bigger jump. I mean, it's
hard to say.
I don't think you're going to be risking your money if you buy any Samsung flagship soundbar.
Did they fix there was a firmware faux pas with Samsung bars in February, and Samsung admitted to a problem, and they let a firmware go out that like bricked people's setups.
I don't know. George says they added a small dual subwoofer.
Oh. Well, if it's got two subs, then I'll look into it, because that's a new thing for them.
DB soundbars are a compromise.
They're not.
No, they're not.
They're not
for everyone. They can be great solutions. And come on.
Jose writes, Rourke Audio R610. We have Rourke's entire product lineup in our home at the moment for evaluation, because of the last 2 months being on pause. I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time or any time really.
Well, we asked for the console version, and then I asked a question about one of some of their satellite speakers, if they could be connected. Didn't get a reply or an answer. Instead, we got their entire product line, which, okay, cool. Didn't expect it. But when it all arrived, we first hooked up the console thing.
Yeah, and you saw it in the background.
The 810 or something.
You saw it in the background
of
a video.
I don't know what the numbers are, but whatever. It played for about an hour, fine, and then we turned it off, and then Andrew came back to it, and it wouldn't put out sound. So we had to get a new one sent, but then because of everything that's been going on out in Texas, we haven't been able to get to it.
Yeah.
But it's on
the schedule.
It's on the list of things to do with or to get to. That's what I meant to say, Jose.
Yeah.
Carlos Gomez doubling down on DV's comment saying that soundbars are bad value. For who? For who are, why? Show me your facts that back that up.
Jared, per your glowing review of the Deckware Zen, after 2 years and 10 months, it has arrived. Thank you for the awesome review. It will be paired with the Forte 4s. That'll be a nice sounding system.
Oh yeah.
Deckware with the Forte 4s, yeah. 2 years and
is that the particular Deckware we have?
Yeah.
Is that going to be enough though for the Fortes?
I mean, yes, it will. It will be enough if you want to eke out more control over the bass or play at like 100 dB plus levels. You might want the Deckware and then something a little integrated on the side for when you want to go full party mode.
Man, you waited 2 years and 10
But
months.
for me, the Deckware with the Forte 4 is, for how I like to listen in the mid 70s to low 80s, it's enough. It's really enough.
But if you find that you're not getting quite enough out of the bass, or it's not quick enough or something, that it could be the power in the Deckware.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind.
So, G Papa, I started shooting film again. Couldn't be happier. Bought a Nikon FM2 and a 50mm lens. I haven't been more in love with street photography. That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I would love to shoot film. You know, I would just like to start shooting period again. Like, some of you may know this, some of you don't. Like, I was a professional wedding photographer for a little over 10 years. I had my own business, and then Andrew and I met, and we started working together shooting weddings. He was doing the video side of things, and since the pandemic hit and everything had to be shut down, and our whole life and work career
I mean, it's why we're on this live stream today, to be honest.
took a new path. And ever since then, it's very difficult for me to pull out a camera. So I take most pictures with my phone, and Andrew will bring my Leica to, like, if we go on a trip or something, and he'll charge it up for me, and then I'll take some pictures. But it's been hard for me to like find that desire again. But then I see people shooting film, like I see their results on film. I'm like, oh man, that looks so nice. I should do that, you know. So I'm glad you're having fun. When we were in Texas, I found a couple of old point and shoots that belonged to my parents, and I took them to their new place, and I meant to take them home with us, and I forgot.
Oh, those are the ones that are sitting on your dad's new dresser.
Are they?
That's where I put them.
Okay.
Because I thought for some reason I didn't realize that you had brought them over.
Yes.
They're sitting with his framed photos on his dresser.
Okay.
So I made a little vignette out of them.
Oh, okay.
We have the Leica Q. We have the Q2.
Sorry, what?
We have the Leica Q2.
No.
No, Q3.
No. We just have the Q.
No, it's not the first one.
I think it is.
No. It's the second one. We don't have the new one. We have the generation before.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I thought we have the Q.
It's the Q series.
It's awesome. It's a great camera. And right before everything changed in the world, like, man, we went to Paris and shot an elopement, and it was literally like the best work I feel like I've ever done.
Yeah.
And that part I miss. Like, we were just getting into a phase where we could go and do projects like that. That is what excites me. Like, I love being in new places and just taking like a couple by themselves and turning it into art or fashion, with a little bit of street photography mixed in,
Yeah, I don't know
photojournalism. That was so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on last year in a couple of our TV reviews, I actually was using our work on the screen. So the films that we were showing were our own, which was fun. Some of you picked up on it, some of you didn't. Let's see. There was this one. I recently replaced my broken G9. That's a Lumix G9 with another G9, and now I discovered that the S5 is pretty affordable. Oh well. The G9 was one of my cameras of choice when shooting events and travel, because the stabilization on that Micro Four Thirds sensor was absolutely next level. Now keep in mind, my G9 was before the G9 Mark II, and it was before the S5 dropped. The S5, I have two S5s. I have two S5 IIs. They are phenomenal cameras, absolutely phenomenal cameras, but I don't use them as much. I use them more for traveling and for handheld work. I still use my S5s for handheld work, but my studio stuff, I use Blackmagic. Would you be so kind to advise a speaker, very neutral and very dynamic, under $1,500 a pair? Oh boy. Gosh. Neutral, but dynamic. I mean, the new KEF Q Meta line can definitely be dynamic. You might have to turn it up a little bit more than, say, a B&W, but it's going to be more linear. That would be a great place to start. I mean, I would say you can look at something like the SVS Nano or SVS Bookshelf, but I know I'll catch flack for that because people will say, oh, it's not neutral. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Neutral and dynamic.
Sonus Faber Lumina 2s are a lot of fun. They can be very dynamic. I find them pleasing. They're not neutral, though. They're not.
You'd probably be looking at like a KEF speaker.
That's what I said.
Of some kind.
The KEF Q Meta line.
Maybe.
That's where I would start, honestly.
What about those KLH Kindles that we reviewed? The new one, like 2F or something.
Yeah, that could be fun. I don't know if you can get them for $1,500 a pair. And we didn't play with the bookshelves, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, you could look at Q Acoustics.
Yes, Q Acoustics, Q
50,
line, 5040 line, or the.
I don't know the price on those off the top of my head. But
that would be good.
Those are great speakers.
Yeah, Q. Chris says Revel, another good one. The M, you can probably pick up a smoking deal on the. Well, we have the M16s still. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say that I'm seeing those for like $498 a pair, new in box. That's a killer value on a speaker. Yeah, so there you go. Tried the Hasselblad X2D last week and was floored. It's medium format and it's so expensive. As I understand it, Fuji just dropped or is about to drop, or they announced it. I don't know if it's for sale yet, but they have a medium format point and shoot that's the same size as the Q. Fixed lens.
That would be fun.
Fixed lens the whole nine. That would be pretty awesome. So let's see. I think am I all caught up? Let me double check this, guys. I think I was all caught up. Oh, nope. Leave it to me. Great to have you guys back. Andrew, do you have any opinions on the PSB Passive 50? To me, it seems like a perfect combination of value, looks, and sound. Well, the fact that I am admitting to you that I have to Google this to make sure that I'm thinking of the right speaker. PSB passive 50 tells you probably what you need to know. See, it's a good thing I Googled it because I was thinking of a different speaker. I know nothing about the passive 50, less than nothing. Honestly, visually, it's very striking. If you're into that vintage look, I mean, you could say it's a KLH Model 5 on a different stand. You could argue with the grills on, maybe it looks like a Forte 4 on a stand. It's definitely got that retro vibe. So that is to its credit. As far as what does it sound like? Oh, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I've never heard it. I've never even seen it in person. I've just seen it in photos. So, sorry. Let's see. I just saw another question pop up here. If you could, C. Booty writes this, if you could somehow immediately go back to where your photography video business was just before COVID, would you rather do that or current business?
That's a really good question, and it's something that I've thought about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I feel that had our business continued on the trajectory that it was headed,
Mm-hmm.
that could have been really fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how sustainable that being a wedding photographer is, because physically it's a very demanding job, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And if we were to be able to transition to smaller events, more elopements and just small weddings, then
Mm-hmm.
that is something I would have loved to explore more.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, like, being able to do oh my gosh, my brain just, the word left me. Basically, where you're, where you go and you do weddings, like
Destination weddings.
Holy crap! Destination weddings are great, but they're not typically your bread and butter.
Yeah.
So most likely we would have had to continue to supplement our income with more traditional events and weddings
Mm-hmm.
in Texas. And though doing those kinds of events for 10 plus years were what was really dragging me down,
Mm-hmm.
as a creative professional. You still have to make money,
Mm-hmm.
but those events became just like, it was always the same.
Yeah.
And Mixtress said that they were a former DJ, wedding DJ, and I'm sure you can also relate, where every playlist is pretty much the same. Maybe it varies
Mm-hmm.
depending if the people are into country music or not. But the venues become the same. The wedding parties are the same. They had grown so much. Like, the wedding was such an event,
Mm-hmm.
like this sort of spectacle. And that wasn't fun for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Being on your feet for 12 hours, dealing with every vendor, and, the wedding parties being, 20 person, like the group number count,
Yeah.
head count being that big was just, herding cats all day. So going back to that, I don't think I would want to do, because I was starting to feel just burnt out from
Yeah.
that. I feel very fortunate that we get to do what we do
Yeah.
right now. Like, we truly are. We were our own bosses then, but I feel even more like we have more independence doing
Yes.
this job than even having our own wedding photography business.
Yeah.
Because so much of what we did was dictated by other people, and you're having to, it's such a huge moment in most people's lives that the results that you produce for them it's very emotional. And not that a brand seeing the review for the first time isn't an emotional experience for them, but I definitely don't feel like I'm only speaking for myself. I don't feel like I owe the brands anything,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Well, you don't, because they didn't pay you.
That is true. That is true. While I want to give them a fair shake and treat their product, we do our best to treat every product the same. It is different than when a bride or the wedding people getting married, or their family, they have such high expectations and they are paying you.
Yeah.
So that pressure is infinitely greater, and I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. But
I wouldn't go back.
I know you wouldn't.
I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back. The destination stuff was great. It fueled me on so many levels, but I wouldn't go back. I'm so appreciative of the flexibility and the freedom and the autonomy we have now that I'm ruined for life at this point, So I wouldn't.
Good to see you, Sea Booty. It's been a while.
Yeah. Frank writes, I remember that you both were Leica fans. TA is the Leica equivalent of the HiFi world for me. Heard they have a new distributor in the US. I think I heard that too just before our world went topsy-turvy. That is a brand that I have to look back into because I don't know if they reached out to me, but I got some news regarding them. And they're another one that I need to spend more time looking into. But yeah, I would agree. They're up there. Chris writes, what is one of your photos that bring you joy?
2 seconds. I'm responding to somebody about coffee. Okay. What is one of the photos that bring me joy? Well, I love the photos that a photographer couple out of Germany, they're called the Saums, Saums, that they took pictures of us in Paris after our wedding. We did have a different wedding photographer who was very good, but on a personal level, I wish the Saums would have shot our wedding. They were just incredible people. If you know anybody over in that part of the world, they do travel extensively. They are absolutely fantastic people, and they do fantastic work. I could not recommend them more, but those photos of us in Paris, walking around Paris, are still some of my favorites.
Admittedly, they are some of my favorites too, but like a photo maybe you've taken.
Oh, that I've taken. Well, like I mentioned before, those elopement photos I took in Paris.
Yeah.
While we also were in, it was around the same time the Psalms took our pictures. Those are some of my absolute favorites. One in particular was, do you remember that jazz band that was playing on the streets?
Oh, yeah,
in Paris?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I downloaded it to my phone, but
And they were the couple. I asked the couple, would they mind dancing together? And so the pictures of them dancing and on the street next to these musicians in Paris, and it was like just absolute perfection in my mind. Exactly the type of photography that I love to do.
I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but this is kind of from that moment. This is not the photo specifically that you're talking about, but yeah.
So that, and just, I don't know, other photos, pictures of Katie. She brings me so much joy. So I always take photos of her sleeping or just, existing. So that brings me joy. I hope that answers your question, Chris.
For me, I just love when I just love when I get to be able to do street photography for myself. Like, I don't really show it to anybody. I don't make videos about it. It's just for me. And that's the stuff that I love. So, let's see. I think, oh, nope, Dwayne writes, Triangle dropped the new BR04 recently. Any urge or interest in reviewing the new models? And have you ever had I have not had those two coffees. Have you had those coffees?
No.
I have not had those coffees. Any interest in the new Triangle models? I mean, I'd have to Google it and look and see what the differences are.
Hey, Dwayne.
Triangle isn't. Their distribution here in the United States is kind of hit or miss, which makes it very difficult to kind of talk about, because it's like I do try and talk about things that either, are interesting to me, but that also have an element of like, hey, you might be able to go source this and experience it for yourself, or put ears to sound. And they've just been kind of they're here 1 minute and then they're kind of hard to find and then they're back, and so I don't know. Excuse me, but I will have to look into it.
I don't think we received any press release.
We haven't gotten anything from them.
The number of brands that don't send us press releases far outweigh those that do.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It used to bother me, at one point in time, because we're like, why do we not get these? And then I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, moving on. Hi, guys. Lost my Klipsch towers and a pair of DevTech towers in recent floods. Flooded basement and pump wasn't working. Oh, man, that sucks. Cabinets are junk. Are drivers worth trying to save for new cabinets? Or, I mean, if the drivers also got water damage, I don't know if I would try and save those either. You might be a candidate for just replacing everything, and I feel for you. But water damage, water and speakers, water and electronics rarely turn out for the better. So you might be a candidate to just find something that will scratch the itch that those two different sets of speakers did and get a replacement. Oh, Chris, I know it's not environmentally friendly, but I could drink 5 gallons of Nespresso coffee every single day. I saw on a recent YouTube video, or maybe it was a story by one of the people I follow about coffee, but I think someone just came out with a refillable Nespresso K-Cup machine that instead of having to constantly buy the boxes and the pre-made stuff, you make your own reusable K-Cup and your own reusable Nespresso. It's like a grinder thing. And I was seeing this video late at night on my phone while we were in Texas, but I do think such a thing exists. Let's see, there was another question here. I think I got everything. I think I got wisely. Have Onkyo RZ50 also scored a Parasound 5250? Will power Focal 300 ICLCR5s, LCR and Focal open floor. Whoa, open floor plan into kitchen 90 plus dB. Carl desired thoughts. I mean, a 5250 will drive damn near anything, to be honest. Focal shouldn't be too difficult for the Parasound. RZ50 can be made as a great preamp. You're going to have Dirac. 90 dB, I don't see it being an issue. I think you'll get there. I think you'll get there. So yeah. No, have fun with that. Have fun with that. Man, it's been a minute since I've heard someone bring up the Parasound 5250. I used to have one of those. Oh, I remember what the question was, but now I can't find it. Oh, well.
Just summarize it.
Well, someone was asking if there was any new news from the Massimo situation, and I don't have anything new really to report. Your guess is as good as mine at this point.
I just replied to them.
Oh, did you?
Saying that we don't have a lot of news.
Okay.
It's just, it seems to be messy.
Yeah.
Which is expected when a company is completely changing directions or going through
changes.
Major upheaval.
Yeah.
We just got a Marantz amplifier that we requested last November.
September, November, or October, November.
October or November, from their marketing arm.
Yeah.
And it just showed up
out of the
blue, like last week.
Yeah.
No warning. The box was beat to all hell.
Yeah, it looked like Wolverine had packed it with his claws out.
Yeah.
And
one element inside was not functioning.
Yeah.
So thankfully we did get a new unit sent to us. But yeah, I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of how things were going.
And it was because of that situation that we learned that the previous company that we were dealing with to get review samples was no longer handling Marantz. And so there's a whole new team handling, at least people in our position, getting samples for review. And that team did not even know that we had this product from Marantz. And I honestly didn't think to reach out and tell them because, like I said, we requested it in October of last year. And when something doesn't arrive for 6 months, I just assume we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So for this thing to show up, it was damaged in shipping. We've since gotten the replacement for it, but now we're scheduling to get the damaged one sent back. So it's been interesting. But yeah, Marantz, Denon, there's changes happening.
Hopefully everything will come out okay and everybody finds a home. If anything gets split up, again, not giving you any insider tips, don't know.
Yeah.
As I said before, half the time we don't even get new press releases, so don't expect us to have some sort of inside track on, what's going on at a major corporation. But
yeah,
typically a lot of when these things happen, brands get split off.
Yeah.
And
we'll see.
It's never a good thing when something like this.
Not necessarily.
Well,
not necessarily. It can be a good thing.
It could be.
It could, but there's always some confusion while the dust settles.
Yeah.
Other than my Klipsch R26FA set on the RZ50, what other tower surround set would you recommend besides mid-range SVS Prime? 3,000 price range with a sub, and what amp would you recommend versus the AVR? Brad, again, if you like the Klipsch sound, but you want to go up market a little bit, other than mid-range SVS, you could do B&W 6 or even 700 series on certain SKUs. You could do Sonus Faber Luminous series on certain SKUs. But if you want, you go Focal on certain SKUs. Those are all going to be things that are going to be somewhat in the same, adjacent veins to a sound that it would appear maybe you're gravitating towards or you like. As for what amp would you recommend versus the AVR, not to be a broken record, but unless you want to spend like serious money and get more audio jewelry or those 1 or 2 last percentage points of performance, I say RZ50 with an Emotiva XPA number of channels, whatever number of channels you need, and you're good to go. You really are. Justin, thank you so much. Pleasure to listen to you guys again. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Here we go. Eric writes, my bet is on Beolab 50s, unless you convinced Kristi to let you get the 90s. Have you heard any TA equipment? PS just came back from a 4-day Indian wedding for 430 people with 6 wedding photographers. No comment, Eric. And we've answered the TA question. I need to talk about the one and only Indian wedding that I ever shot. You've done a few.
I've done a few, yeah.
You did a few. I did that crap myself.
Yeah, that was
was
that one of the last weddings we did?
That was one of the very last weddings
Out in
that we shot out in Texas.
Yeah.
I was the sole videographer for 2 days. I had 6 total cameras on that shoot.
6?
6. I had my GH5. I had 2 G9s. No, I'm sorry. I had 5 cameras. My apologies. I had my GH5S, I think it was, 2 G9s, and 2 GX85s.
You didn't have an assistant for part of the day?
Oh, I did. I had an assistant for part of the day, but I wasn't able to use any of it.
Was that because they shot in?
No, you're thinking of the Hollywood wedding, the British wedding that he just shot in a format that I was like, please don't use this. And then he shot the whole day that way. And I'm like, shooting video of weddings was interesting. It was hard to do, but I actually preferred when I was the lone shooter, unless my brother was able to help me, because my brother was versed on the camera systems I used. So I knew that he would use the same equipment I would, whereas videographer people tend to be pretty particular, and it's not like shooting raw film. It's like, so you'd end up getting someone like, well, I'm a Canon C100 shooter, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, I'm a Lumix shooter. The color profiles of these two things are not gonna match.
Yeah.
And so you'd spend so much time in post trying to match, like, oh, I'm a Canon guy, and then the next day you get, Sony people. Oh, sorry, Sony. Sony, you make great TVs, but boy, the entire wedding videography industry is just dominated by Sony, and you just get that green footage, man.
Oh my gosh.
Just get that green footage.
Yeah, it was always tough having to color match a second shooter's photos, but they were so much fun. They were, like he said, they were a lot of fun to photograph, but oh man, so much happening at the same time, and they are long events, usually spanning over multiple days. So the fact that the one you went to had 6 photographers for 430 people, which is, I mean, that's a lot of people, but I've seen bigger.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot, and
it was
big
a blast.
props to the couple for having the budget, or either that or the poor photographer just lost money by hiring so many assistants. But yeah.
I remember when we were filming that and shooting that, like, we got home at like 1 or 2 in the morning from day one, and then we were back out there 8 a.m. at a different location, because there was like this whole convertible car that the groom like drove in on, and then they had the crowd in the street.
Because the groom typically arrives. I forget what it's called. I'm sure someone can tell us here in the comments, but it's an arrival process.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. I mean, sorry for people out there that are like Christians or whatever, like, Christian weddings are boring. They're so boring. Indian weddings are so much more lively and fun, and everyone is involved, which can be...
I find foreign weddings in general, or just cultural weddings in general, are just more fun.
Yeah.
Like church weddings, I was always just like...
Oh, God. The worst.
which oh my God, which sucks so hard, because some of the churches that I've been able to go into
restrictive
are gorgeous. Like, you're just like, give me 15 minutes to like, I want to fly.
Barat, yes.
I want to fly this through here. Let me get this angle. And then the church itself is like, you're not allowed to stand anywhere but this 4x4 box in the way back corner. There's nothing worse. I was in San Francisco. My brother and I were filming a wedding in San Francisco. One of the very first weddings that we filmed. You weren't shooting that wedding.
I wasn't.
I was filming it. The church that they got
That was beautiful.
was stunning. And I had to shoot that whole thing from the exit door frame.
Yep. Church ladies are they are hardcore.
I couldn't.
You're either shooting it from the very back, or sometimes you're allowed to be at the front while the bride or grooms are walking down the aisle, but then you have to immediately go to the back and stay there, or you're relegated to the balcony area. I
was given one vantage point, and that was the back door. At the end of all of the pews. I could not step 1 foot closer, and so I have not. And it was like a 90-minute ceremony.
Yeah.
I have they're on their knees, they're up, they're this.
Take a break.
Yeah, I had 3 cameras. I had a 300 mil lens. I had a 85, and I had another one on like a 35 or a 24, and all 3 cameras were like 1, 2, 3, hit record. And then my brother and I just sat there twiddling our thumbs for like 90 minutes because we couldn't move.
Yeah. One time I was shooting a church wedding in Austin that was at a church on Guadalupe, on the drag, which is Guadalupe. And I showed up to shoot this wedding, and I'm lucky I'm alive, or that I didn't get a leg or foot taken off, because I got hit by a city bus that was essentially in my lane. I was parallel parked in front of this one church. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the drag in Austin, but I literally got hit. I was starting to open my door, and I had room, between me and the parallel parking line. And the next thing I know, this huge City of Austin bus flies by and hits my door. And I just I was in shock, but I'm like, I don't have time to deal with this. I have to go and shoot a wedding. Like, no, what am I going to do? Like, I literally was going back and forth because I had to wait for the police to come. The bus just kept going. I didn't know if they were going to come back. It was so fucked up and I'm like, what do I do? It was the most you're pulled in so many different directions, because I was just involved in an auto accident. I have to, call the police, do insurance things, and wondering if the bus is going to come back and acknowledge
doesn't even know
what they did. But I also have this bride and groom and their moms, who are they don't give a shit that I got hit by a bus. I mean, that's literally how life as a wedding photographer goes. But oh my gosh.
At that same San Francisco wedding, I almost got in a fight with one of the still photographers. Me and my brother were video, but still photographer who she was friends of the couple that was getting married, and she got hammered. She stopped taking pictures after a while, but her second shooter was figuring out how we were kind of getting all of these angles. And so halfway into the day, he would literally just post up right next to my brother and then step in front of his lens.
Oh yeah.
And my brother was getting so mad, and he came over to me and he's like, this guy keeps hosing my shots. And I mean, he was doing it during speeches and important stuff that as a videographer, you need to make sure you have. When dad's breaking down, when mom's losing her marbles, because their daughter's just so pretty. And then I just got the back of this guy's head, and he did that during cake cutting. And I just leaned over into his ear. And I was like, I'm not proud of this, but it very discreetly leaned over so that only he and I could hear the conversation. And I said, you step in front of my lens one more time, I'm putting you on the ground. And he just went like this. And I'm like, test my resolve. you're on the ground. Didn't see him the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Didn't see him the rest of the day.
That was crazy. Somebody asked me if I ever had a memory card go bad, and thankfully I never had a card go bad or be corrupted. But one time, and this is the only time this has ever happened in like 12 years as a photographer, we were shooting a destination wedding in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And it was just the bride and groom. It was amazing. And we did their ceremony, and then we just drove all around the mountains and took pictures. It was awesome.
It's cold too. We were in jackets.
Well, okay, whatever. So we finish like a 9-hour day. We go to this one restaurant, really nice. We're sitting down. We just ordered drinks, and I had my camera bag on me because I wasn't going to leave it in the car. And I was just looking through some of the photos I had taken on the back of my camera, and I think I must have gone to switch cards or something. And
you went to switch cards.
And I realized a card was missing, like a real important card.
Like the actual ceremony.
Yeah, the actual ceremony. And I have never freaked out more in my life than in that moment. I looked at Andrew and I was like, oh my God, a card is missing. And I'm like, we got to go. It was nighttime.
Yeah, it was.
It was nighttime. We drove back out to the mountain area where we had just been and looked around. We went to like 2 different locations.
Yeah.
Out in Jackson Hole, out in the middle of nowhere, essentially, with flashlights, like we were going to find something.
Not with flashlights, with
our phones.
With our phone
as flashlights.
And my little portable LED lights that are on top of my camera because we were shooting inside this old church that had no like actual lighting. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, so way out in the middle of Nowhereville.
Oh, that's us.
That's us. All night, it's wet. The ground is wet. My shoes are soaking, and we haven't eaten all day. We haven't eaten all day.
We left the restaurant.
Yeah, we threw a bunch of money on the table, didn't even finish our drinks, and drove like the Dickens out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, when do you think you lost it? So we went to all the places that we thought the card changeover would have happened for hours. And I'm like, look, we need to go to bed. We're going to pick this up in the morning.
I did not sleep.
So we go back to the hotel. We sleep for like 3 hours because it's like 3 a.m. when we give up the search. We are back. Like, she didn't sleep. So as soon as the sun just kind of goes over the top of the mountain, she's like, get up. Get up. If you know what's good for you.
I was so panicked because we were the only people. It was just us and them.
Yeah.
There was no other, like, they didn't have family.
Yeah.
Or anything.
There was no record of their wedding except for what we had.
And I just, I was like in full meltdown.
Yeah. She's like, can we pull stills from your video? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I'm like, I mean, we can. That's like worst case scenario. So
anyway, we go back to the same places. Retrace every step.
Can't find it. And I finally just say, where did we did this running shot? And I'm like, where was that? Because it was for me. It was for me in the video. It was a setup. It was a setup shot, but we were in this middle of this open field, mountains in the back, kind of where we took that picture. And I'm like, where was that? And we go back to this rough area where we thought we were, because we kind of like hiked off the path to get there and whatnot. And we were out there 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And I just look down and I go, there it is.
You know, I'm probably like,
she's 100 yards.
No, I'm not that far, but I'm like 20 yards away or something, looking in the brush.
Yeah.
Is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And he goes, found it. And I was like, what?
She comes running through this field. I'm just holding this SD card, and she's like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" So then we walk back to the car. All of our heart rates go back down, and then this one.
Well, no, I set this up on the mountain.
She's like, "Well, what about the other one?"
Because I shot Nikon,
Yeah.
and it had 2 dual card slots, and so but that was the really bad thing about it.
Yeah.
Is both
Those cards
of
fell
the
out.
cards from that part of the day had both fell out of this little
Pouch.
pouch. Like I had this little Velcro pouch that was attached to my camera strap. That's where I stored all my cards, and I'd never had a problem with it ever. It was awesome because as a wedding photographer, things happen so quickly, and when your card ends, you got to change like that.
Yeah.
And there's no time. There's just you're lucky if you get to breathe throughout the day. And both of these cards
Fell out.
had fallen out. So there was, like we said before, there was literally no record. And yeah, so he finds one, and I'm thinking the first thing out of my mouth after just being completely relieved was, "Did you find the other one?"
Yeah, gift horse, mouth, all the way in. And I'm like, no, that's the sacrifice. We're giving that one to the mountain. We backed up. I whipped my laptop out in the rental car. We back it up in the passenger seat, like before we even drive away, because there's a chance, like, I'm going to have to go find this other one. Got it all backed up, and took that selfie right there, and we were like, "Mountain, the card is yours." And we hightailed it out of there, and we have never publicly told that story.
Yeah.
Not even to the bride and groom.
No.
But now that we're no longer wedding photographers, yes. Because I did this epic wide running shot of, the two of them coming together with the mountains in the background, and you were like running backwards doing your pictures, like the card came out, and
Yeah, it was.
But we
it
found
was
it.
a whole thing.
We found
that
it.
For about 12 hours. I thought
Your life was over.
my life was over. Literally,
We're like, we're gonna have to
life
give
was
them all
over.
their money back. I'm
Yeah.
like, we're gonna have to do a lot more than that.
It was.
This is really bad.
Yeah, it was bad, but thank God.
Yeah.
Andrew found it. He completely saved my ass. Completely. That's definitely like the worst moment of my whole wedding career, and thankfully it was the only time anything like that ever happened.
Oh, stuff happened to me and Josh all the time.
Well, stuff happened, but I never felt that close to death.
Oh, man. Stuff happened to Josh and I all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Filming.
Anyway,
People
you guys
forget they're mic'd for video.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening to our other side quests.
All right.
So I know there's
Some
other
questions here that I have to answer. So, Brian, granddaughter broke Klipsch KG 5.5s. I put my 600 Mark IIs in with the sub. I hear distortion like FM static on some tracks with any amp. Same when I swap Heresy 2s. Any guesses? Speakers, amps, or ears? Hard to say. As with anything, you're going to want to make, as you troubleshoot, you're going to want to make one change at a time. So take it down to the bare essentials to what you need to hear sound, and then start adding and then removing things. It can be an astronomic pain in the ass to try and troubleshoot noise issues or distortion issues or things like that. It really is hard to say what is the culprit here. Sorry. Glad to see you all back. I recently entered the hobby by purchasing a pair of SVS Ultra Evo Titans paired with the Marantz M1 based on your positive review of each. I'm struggling with making sure settings, placement, and volumes are good for my space. Okay, well, the combination works together. I don't know the size of your space. Let's just go at it from a very, very basic perspective, and that is, how far away do you sit from, say, the center point of where the two speakers are? So, for example, I use the center point as like our television. So we sit 10.5-ish feet away from the TV. That means that my speakers can be placed 9.5 to 11 feet apart. And that's going to give me more or less, the triangle setup where all sides are equilateral triangle setup. And then from there, you can start to experiment front to back as terms like close to a wall, further away from the wall, so on and so forth. So that's the easiest way to start. From there, as far as like settings, once you get everything kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense, Andrew. I'm starting to hear things different, better or worse. It's like, oh, his bass is still too high. Now you start to kind of pull him out from the wall a little bit. Oh, bass went away. Start to push him back towards, and you got to do this like a couple of inches at a time. It really can be that subtle. And then from there, what I tend to do is either play like something that's very simply acoustic recorded, that's a singer-songwriter. It doesn't have to be anything like super high res or fancy, but for toe-in, like the speaker straight ahead, if the artist is dead center of the dead center between the two speakers, floating in space, and everything sounds as it should, great. But if you sit in the center and you lean, if the sound starts to travel towards the direction you're leaning, that's when I start playing with toe in, so that it kind of solidifies that, so that when I lean, it doesn't move as much with me. And once I have that kind of balance struck, I'm there, I'm there. And then for me, I can measure things and kind of back up like, okay, yeah, we're looking really good. As far as settings within the M1, that's where you put your personal tastes on what you're hearing, either through tone controls or the sound presets, standard, virtual, things like that. That's how I would start. I am setting up my first system. I am between Sonus Faber Lumina 2 or Duetto. Which one will you recommend, or which one can you highlight? They're both fabulous, but they're both going to do two different things. The Duettos are powered. That is a whole system that exists within two speakers. So it has preamps, it has your inputs, it has app control, streaming, all built in. So you buy the two speakers, you put them on stands, you whip out your Android or your iPhone, you have a system, and you can plug your TV into them, so on and so forth. For simplicity's sake, me as an individual, like, I love that kind of stuff. I do. But if you're like, no, I'm starting my hi-fi journey and I want to get into amps and preamps and streamers and all of that, then you have to go with the Lumina 2, because that's a passive speaker. And then you're a candidate for integrated amps, separates, streamers, DACs, things like that. I have the Marantz 6015 and I want to upgrade to a 7.1.4, so I got two Fosse V3 monos because the 6050 only has 9 amps. Would you connect the Fosse amps to surround height speakers or to the front Yamaha S809s? I can't advise you on this one. I do not have positive experiences with Fosse amplifiers. Maybe I'm snake bit, but none of them have worked as advertised, and I've not had good experiences. They get incredibly hot. I've had them overheat. I've had them shut down. Unfortunately, I want to help you. I'm the wrong person to ask, because in my personal opinion and experience, I do not feel comfortable connecting Fosse products to anything at this point. So, but that's just me, and I know a lot of people are on the other side of that. And like I said, maybe I just have the worst luck, but I have multiple Fosse amps and they have all malfunctioned. So I can't advise you on what to do. Not had ARC or eARC, new RZ70 and Bravia 9 plus Sky TV box, PC, and Panasonic UB820. Did you say plug components into the TV? Sony only has two HDMI 2.1 slots. What should I plug into what? Well, you have the RZ70, so that has 2.1 ports. So you can go HDMI for your Sky TV box and your Panasonic, into the RZ70's HDMI inputs, take an HDMI from the Bravia 9's ARC, eARC HDMI compatible port and put that into the monitor out ARC, eARC port of the RZ70. The only reason why I say plug things directly into the TV is for people that do next-gen gaming and maybe their television is newer than their receiver, because maybe their television has 2.1 ports, but their receiver does not. At that point, yeah, do a Sony PS5 or an Xbox directly into the television. But in your case, you should be fine. HDMI all into RZ70, one cable between your Bravia 9 and the RZ70 using the ARC, eARC HDMI ports. Any plans for Easter? No. Well, we've got a new video on Sunday, so those are plans. You gotta do that.
I think we're going to a plant
Yes,
sale
yes.
or something tomorrow.
Yeah. But now I think I am now officially all caught up, and it is almost noon. So guys, I am gonna call it. I'm gonna say that that's a good live stream. I thank you all so very, very much. Like I said, we're getting back into the groove. I'm so happy that you're back and you're here. And I don't know. It's the first time that I've gotten to work with you in almost 3 months, and it was fun.
Aw.
It was fun, and we got to talk story time.
I love you, baby.
Love you too. So yeah, don't forget, Sunday, guys, brand new video. Don't want to miss this one. I know even if you never heard of the brand, definitely a fun one, fun to check out. So until then, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you Sunday. Brand new video, because we are back, baby. All right, we'll see you guys Sunday. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.